Mr Speaker.
David Bennett.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. And I'd just like to make a short call on the Customs and Excise Prohibition of imports made by slave labour amendment bill, and I'd like to acknowledge the member bringing the bill, Penny Henare, who is a good member of this House and has got a genuine intention to do well for this country. But this bill, unfortunately, does not achieve a purpose that he would be proud of in his legislative career. This is a bill which I think that last speaker summed up more eloquently, in the sense that it is a statement of intent rather than a statement of fact, and the ability to do anything that would be serious in that area and would actually have the desired effect that the member bringing this bill to this parliament would like to see. A number of members have gone through the difficulty in the definitions and just how you define slave labour. We're in a very modern manufacturing world that has a lot of supply chains, and there's a lot of different products and definitions of what slave labour could be. So there could be an issue. Is that a problem from New Zealand First? So, so yes, be quiet in the cheap seats over there. The nature of the bill has got some major issues in that regard. And the last speaker tried to pronounce this bill as something wider than what it actually is, and I think that member needs to actually look at what it's actually about. And you know, in many cases you could say that there are some aspects of the system that the Labour and Greens support that do not insist in freedom of choice. You know, the union movement, for example, has a major impact on the ability of individuals to be able to do what they would like to be able to do, and they're coerced into acting in the interests of the majority, not in the interests of their individual requirements. And so, you know, you can actually take it to a very wide scale if you wanted to, and that could be a danger to the Labour and Green movements that are so based on those things as part of their base of support. Mr Speaker, when you look at slave labour, nobody wants to see slave labour in any form, and I don't think there's any debate in that in this House. But it's not what the last member said, that there's only a few people in the world that are gaining from millions of people, billions of people that are slave labour. That's not the case. You know, people may have different working conditions, they may have different income levels from us, but it is part of those growth of those countries. Not everybody starts at the same level. And some of the countries like China, for example, which brings in millions of people to our standard of living every year, have increased their standard of pay over many years, and the vast bulk of the Chinese population are seeing huge gains through industrialisation, through globalisation, and being part of the world economy. And it's easy for the Labour and Green movement to say that that's slave labour, you know, because it's not under the terms and conditions that they perceive somebody should be paid in New Zealand. And that's the difficulty of this, because there are so many transactions going on in the world. There are so many people that are actually gaining through the economic system of the world, and we shouldn't be saying that there are major issues in that regard, because they're not. There's a lot of people that are actually transitioning from a subsistence lifestyle into a lifestyle very much like ours, where they have that standard of living. So there's so many difficulties with this definition. We understand what the member's trying to do, and nobody is against sending that message, but this bill does not achieve that, and Mr Speaker, unfortunately it will not get the support of this House. Thank you.